been a while since I've worked on it. Probably been, I don't know, a couple months, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. The issue I was having was this part here that finally came in. Took that long to come in. And it's from Tanks. It's the kit for the fuel pump to go inside my tank. That way I don't have any issues with it down the line. Looks like it's opened already. I did not do that. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure I have everything I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the tank out, kind of see how everything is going to fit before I actually start cutting into the tank and mounting the tank. Okay, so here is what the kit comes with. I got the little tray. I believe this mounts to that somehow. Got a gasket, and I think this goes in the top of the tank. The hardware, that's trash. A few zip ties and a straw in case I need a drink. I need a break. No, actually, I think that probably ties into this somehow. And this is something for safety. I think it's like a rollover type gas shut off or something like that. I don't remember the exact name for it. So I did have a plan on how I was going to do this, and I don't remember exactly how I was going to get it done. There is a guy on YouTube that has done it before, so I'm going to look at my notes and maybe look at that video one more time before I actually start cutting on it. But I believe he put it on here. He got this, marked it with the Sharpie, because it's a flat surface. I think that's where it was. I don't remember. And then he installed the rest of the hardware to go with it. So we're gonna look through my notes and figure out where it's the best spot to put it so I can get that mounted. I do believe he cut this section a little bit to make it fix. I think it's too long for this tank. So let's go ahead and figure this out and then just kind of go from there. If it does go here, I see that there's a little gap here and over here, so it's not going to be a complete flat surface. I don't know if the original tank is quite like this. I still have it, so I'll probably take a look at it and see. A worst case, I may have to dolly the surrounding area to make this flat. I have this piece of metal, which the guy on YouTube did it as well, and he drilled a hole in the center so I can have like a little pilot hole so I can drill exactly in the middle. He used a 4-inch hole saw, and this is what that is as well. It's 4 inches, but his goes out to the end, so mine doesn't quite do it. So I'm still gonna go ahead and drill the hole, and what I'm thinking, if it's still not big enough for that thing to slide in, then what I'm gonna do is just kind of gently make it bigger until it fits in there. So I need to find a center of this so I can drill into it, and then once I drill into it, then I'll be able to mock this up to get that installed. This piece here goes on the inside of the tank, so if you look closely in it, you can see the threads on there for the hardware to go through. So I'll mess with that a little bit later. This is not as easy as you would think it is. It's not terribly hard, it's just time consuming. So I went ahead and drilled a hole. I did get a, like the guy in the video, I put a little piece of metal, drilled a hole in the middle, like you saw. It does slide some, so whenever you get, the problem that I'm having is whenever you get close to drilling through, first you have like this little cap, and then you have the sheet metal in the tank, so it gets stuck on this, and then finally you get it out, and then it starts to get stuck on the actual tank. But I got it out, went ahead and sanded the area so I make it sharp, and then I hammer and dolly the sides, because it came through here on both sides, so I had to raise this whole section up some to make this bracket fit. So it's still not perfect, as you can see, but what I'm thinking is that whenever I install it from underneath and put the screws in, that is gonna bring it up and create a seal. All right, so I got everything as close to flat as possible. Got the holes kind of marked. And now I have to drill some holes with the 3/16 bit. So let's go ahead and do that and see if it fits. All right, so I got all the shavings cleaned up, smooth again. And now, per the instructions, I have to get this inside and weld it. You don't have to weld it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that so I don't have to mess with it. So if you're wondering why it has this opening here, that's to slide, kind of like a horseshoe, this bracket in, and then line it up to the holes and then install it. So per the instructions, I'm gonna put about 4 or 5 screws that came with. Make sure you take the O-rings out so you don't burn the O-rings out when you're welding it. So once I line it up, I'm gonna tighten it up and then tag weld it. Okay, got all the screws in, and the instructions say to put like 4 or 5 of them, but I wanted to get all of them in because if you have a problem, it's easier to fix it now than when you weld it. So went ahead and put it on, and sure enough, I did find a problem. One of the holes wasn't quite lined up. I mean, it was very, very small amount that it needed to be made a little bit bigger to fit the screw through there. So took it out and grinded it a little bit, and everything works fine now. It did straighten up just a little bit more. So if you look inside, it's a nice flush finish all the way around. So obviously I'm just gonna start in one section, put another one across where I put the last tack, and then do like a crisscross pattern so it doesn't warp or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the welder out and start getting this done, and there'll be one less thing that I have to do. And then next I'll go ahead and measure the depth so I can cut the right height so it sits in there properly. When you put the pump in, the instructions have you put it down here, and it wants the strap to be in the middle of the fuel pump. Well, since you cut it, you know, every tank will be a little bit different, but if you're using it for a Mustang 71 to 73, you're gonna come across the same issue that I have. It's gonna run across the bottom here instead of halfway. And he said it's okay, it's not that big of a deal. The other thing that the instructions are not really specific is with this little clip here, or holder for the strap or the zip tie. It does come with a stainless steel nut and bolt that kind of goes through it. Otherwise, it'll stick out a little bit too much and hit the fuel pump. I did the bolt in here and then the nut out here to make it a little bit easier. But you can do it however you want. So it doesn't really give you a specific location for it. I was thinking at first it was gonna come up here, but it actually goes through the hole that's in the tray. You have a hole that's about right here on that side, and that's where it goes through. And then you have a bunch of different size screws. They're not all quite the same. Not sure why. I know this big one here, there's a really long one. That's in case you don't tack weld the ring inside to kind of help you fish the gasket through and all that stuff. Some a little bit smaller than the other, but that's what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stagger them, put a small, big, small, big. That way, you know, they're not all on one side and all the big ones on the other side. So now I'm just gonna kind of tighten everything up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the pump in and measure it. I wanted to get this location done so I can put Teflon on these and set it down to the location I want. Once I do that, then I'll go ahead and put the pump in, measure it, cut the hose to length, clamp it down, and then I'm gonna clean the gas tanks. Trying to test fit everything and see exactly how everything is going to fit. Got these fittings here. There's a brace here that goes back here, that the straps that hold the tank, it's like right here. So I think if I run it straight, it'll be good. I may tilt them just a tad like that, so the hoses don't get too kinked. Gonna mess around with it for a little bit and figure out exactly how it's gonna go. Now these wires here, if you look at the videos that are on YouTube, these fittings are a little bit different from those. The ones that are online don't show it quite like this. So I called them up just to verify, and these are a little bit better fit, I think. If you look inside here, you have like a rubber washer and then a metal washer, and when you tighten it up, it squeezes it and it does not leak, is what he told me. So if you have to tighten it down, just make sure you don't miss the bottom part, because otherwise you'll have some leaks. But once you tighten it up, it squeezes that rubber seal and it keeps us from moving back and forth. Okay, so trying to figure out the best location for these fittings here. So you look at this indentation here in the trunk. That's where this section here sits. So originally I was going to have both of these facing forward towards the front of the car, but the problem is that they'll be too close together, and the fittings that I get for this, I don't want them to interfere. You know, like if they're like this, there's very little space for you to tighten it up, the fitting that goes in here. So I'm thinking about having one face forward, which will be the return, and supply line, that's this one right here, face towards the driver's side of the car, because this is the feed from the car. I just have this temporarily, but the feed comes from this side anyway, so I'm thinking that's gonna work for me. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fit the pump in there, so I can measure the tubing so I can cut it to length. Okay, next step is to cut these to size. The black one, it's a supply line to the fuel pump. The straw, return line, and just make sure per the instructions to cut it about 1 inch short to make sure everything works right. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those, install those, and zip tie it together, and then I'll be good to move on to installing the gasket after I clean the gas tank. All finished up. Everything zip tied, bottom, top's tightened. All I need to do is just put the fitting right there, and then that'll be it for this. Make sure you put some dielectric grease on the end of the connection. And then these here, they're still loose. I'm gonna wait because I don't know how long, or if I'm gonna have to shorten them up once I get it in the tank. So that there is not that big of a deal. But for now, we're gonna call this part here done. So now that I have everything cleaned inside, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this sealer before I put the gasket. Some people say to just put it in the bottom, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it at the bottom and the top just to be safe. And then I'll go ahead and put the pump in it didn't screw it in. So I'll go ahead and get ready to put some of this primer in. Seems like everything is sealing up just fine. Glad I put the sealant on both sides of the gasket. So we'll see if I have any leaks whenever I put some gas in it. Hopefully not, because I don't want to take this whole thing back down. But for now, we're gonna call this done. I need to get some fittings for here so I can run the fuel lines. I'll probably get some tomorrow or so. But for now, I'm gonna call this done. Got my fittings in today. Got 2 of them. Chinese ones, but as long as they work, I don't really care where they come from. It even came with some of this Teflon tape. It looks really cheap, so I'm not really gonna use it. I got this blue monster tape that I've used before, and I think it works really good. Never had any problems with it. Figure out the routing of the pipes, or the hose, I should say. So let's figure that out and then put this bad boy in. Okay, so I temporarily have the return line installed. So I just wanted to mock it up to see how much hose I was gonna need. I don't know how good this line here is. I've never really had any problems with it, like clogging up the carburetor or anything. So thinking about maybe replacing it with a new one. I have to maybe call Holly and see if I can use this old line and then just put the pressured hose at the ends for the fuel pump and in the front. So anyway, I have it ran here. Don't know how I'm gonna tie it down yet. I have these zip ties just for now. So I have it going all along here, bending the corner there, and then bending the corner again over here. And then it goes up and over, and I'll show you what that looks like. And here's the front of the car. So the instructions have the return line coming down from the bottom here, so it's gonna connect right there. It's perfect. And this is all that I have left. I would say probably about 4 feet left. It's definitely not enough for to run another line. I have to look at the instructions. I don't know. I'm assuming, since they only send this much, it's just for the return line, not the supply line. So I'm gonna mess with that here in a little bit, do some research and see how I'm gonna do that, because I still need to run, you know, the other lines. This here, which I have enough, just goes from here to that end. It has to be a nice smooth turn. And then I believe the supply line comes in here, this end. So I'll double check it before I install it. So this is the return, the supply, and then it comes out here and it goes into the throttle body, and I believe that's it. So I think I have this figured out. The manual does give you an option to use the original fuel line, which is this one right here, this bottom one. So what I'm gonna do, because I did look up some information about it, and some people have used it before, and some say not to, because of the fuel pump creates more pressure than a stock mechanical fuel pump. So what I did is I'm gonna use it, see how it goes, but I'm gonna use it for the return line, which is what this is. I had to reroute the top section here, have it going back now since I'm using the original. That way it's not too kinked. I don't wanna disrupt any flow coming into the gas tank. And then the solid rubber hose, I have it going to my supply line, which is this one here. So all I have to do now is just wire the positive and negative. Here's the positive wire here. It comes with the Holley Sniper EFI. It's not quite long enough, so I'm gonna have to add a little bit to it because of the way I chose to run it, which is pretty much along the frame rail with the stock and the other hose for the fuel. That way it's not, I don't have wires going everywhere. And then what I plan to do is just run the ground wire maybe up here somewhere. Not quite sure yet. I even thought about putting it here with the exhaust bolts, but that may not be a good idea, so I'm still playing around with the spot or location for it. So the dilemma that I have now is the placement for the fuel filter. I need to find a location for that, and I quite don't have long enough hose. So this is all the hose that I have left, and it's gonna go on the other side, left side. I'll have to look at the manual, but either way, I'll have it going or routed the correct way. But I don't have enough hose. This is the stock hose. It came from down there to here. So I'm not gonna use this anymore. I'm gonna use that, and I wanna run that to that, but I don't quite have a long enough hose for that. And I'm still playing around with the routing of the hose down here. Here's a close-up of what I'm talking about. The original fuel line goes to the front. I turned it here and there to get it to the front of the car. So if I get rid of that, I'll be able to, or I'll have enough hose to finish my project. The problem is that once it comes to the front here, I don't want to drill through the firewall or anything to get the fuel line. The one that has the blue tape here that you see here, right up there, that goes in to the inside here, and it goes out to supply it to the fuel. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do yet, but this is the way I have it going here. It's about 4 to 5 inches away from the exhaust. I could put some, like a heat shield or something here to kind of protect it, which I'll probably end up doing, but I really don't want to. Just don't know how to make it go to where I want it to without drilling any holes. So we'll see how that works out. So for now, I need to find the fuel filter location. Here's a diagram. That's the only fuel filter that I'm going to use. I don't have to use this anymore since I have that fuel pump inside the tank. This is just to kind of protect it from any dust or particles that are in the tank before it hits the fuel pump. And then now, but the fuel pump that's in the tank now has a little sock in it or something to kind of protect it from any trash that may be in there. So I don't have to mess with that right now. So let's go ahead and see if I can figure out the rest so I can finish the fuel system on this car. Okay, I got the tank all prepped up for the installation. I got the little brackets here, and I got the wires done. You know, the one wire that comes from the kit, and then one to the ground. Decided to put it up there. Hopefully that works out. So got everything shrink wrapped, zip tied, tightened. So all I have to do now is just press it up there and tighten it up, and this section here will be done. We got the gas tank installed. Everything has enough clearance. Check the hoses, move them around. It's good to go. All I have to do is just connect the gaskets and stuff from the inside of the trunk, and I should be good. One thing I did forget to mention is with this here, you don't really, you know, if you're gonna do the fuel injection pump inside the tank, you don't need this. So went ahead and welded it shut, and then I painted it to kind of keep it from rusting, because when I welded it, I took some of the finish that it had. So I went ahead and painted it just to keep it from rusting and stuff. So that's good to go. I need to connect the fuel gauge, I believe goes there, and run it to the front of the cluster so I can get a reading on the gas. But everything else turned out pretty good. Really happy. So now these zip ties were temporarily put on there just to kind of run the hose and see which direction I wanted to go with it. Now that I know it's gonna go there, I got some better stuff to kind of put on there, make it look a little bit nicer. I'll probably still leave some of the zip ties on there. Here's some of those clamps I was referring to. They're stainless steel with a rubber coating in the inside to kind of help with the friction of the cables or any hoses you may have. I think this will look nicer than having the zip ties. I may leave some in tight sections that I can't get these on, but for the most part I want to go ahead and use these. And I got these stainless steel bolts from the local hardware store as well. I got the smallest ones I could find, so it doesn't look too ugly when you tighten them up. So I'm gonna go ahead and run through the old fuel row, get those installed, tuck them in. I'm sure you could probably drill some of these into the frame, but I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna leave it just like that. Maybe tuck in the screws and end a little bit more, but just to give you an idea of what I'm getting ready to do. Tank installed, and I need to put the gaskets and rubber fittings that go on this, which I've had for a while. I have this here. this one here. And the big one that goes right over that there. And of course, I have the pipe. So, need to figure out if this gets any type of gasket on there. I don't have one, so I'm assuming it doesn't, but go ahead and open these up so I can put these on. This here, I'm guessing, goes on the top here. I think I have everything hooked up for the fuel injection, so I need to cycle through it a few times. I have my computer plugged in. I don't have it ran inside yet because I'm not sure where it's gonna go. I still have a little bit of stuff that I need to do inside to get that put on. But I can easily check it from here, make sure there's no leaks or anything. All right, let's go ahead and put these on. Done putting on the gaskets. There is no gasket or seal that goes between this and the trunk of the floor, so I went ahead and just put it on like that. I can't find my, it seems like you always lose something, so I have one missing screw that I have to look for. I did have all four because I painted them to get some of that rust off. All I have to do now, I do have gas in there, is just cycle the pump through, a few cycles, maybe 3 or 4 is what the instructions say, to kind of prime the lines. And they also say to kind of clean the return line. I don't have really anything in there because I had been using it before, and the lines are clean, they're brand new. So the one that came with the kit, and that's what I'm using. So I don't think there's any trash. I'm gonna go ahead and risk it. I do have a filter. I mean, worst case, I'll just replace the filter. So yeah, let's go ahead and cycle it and see if we can crank this bad boy up. Now that I know that the car runs, I can move on to something else, which I'm happy it ran. It's about time. Seems like it took me forever to get that stuff done. So I need to clean some of the stuff up inside. I have too many loose ends. I have some of the wiring that I still need to figure out, or just kind of hide and tuck in, like, the ones there that I'm gonna leave in case I ever have to do something else. I'll leave this for the doors and automatic windows. These were just like constant hots for any accessories that you want to run. I got the the headliner in. I am missing some of the trim pieces. I have these are metal here, and the one in the front, the A-pillar moldings, I do not have for there. I do have these. One of them is broken. I think this one's broken, the other one's not. so I can probably reuse it. But what I'm thinking about doing is, I've been doing some research on fiberglass. See, there's the one that goes there. And I'm gonna have to recreate some of this stuff because I don't really want to pay $100 for something that's brittle and probably has cracks, because that seems like what everyone wants to get for them. And I don't mind paying for good quality stuff, but paying over $100 for something like this that's gonna crack or break, I don't really want to do that. So and these are the cheaper ones. The A-pillar ones, I had a guy that had some and he wanted to charge me like $350 for them, and they weren't even the right color. So to me, that just doesn't make sense. I know having these cars, you know, you don't really save any money, you know, if you have one of these, but I want to save money where I can. So, you know, I'm gonna try to make this out of fiberglass. Worst case, then, you know, I'll buy them, but I really don't want to. And then it doesn't make sense to pay $350 for these when you could buy new ones for about $200. But then again, I don't really know how it fits. So what I'm thinking of doing is, if I can do it, I need to make some kind of a template first. And I do have some ideas on how to make it a little bit better. And I believe it just kind of goes down to here, kind of hides all the nuts and bolts. I temporarily put this on here just for me to see, you know, where I have to build it to. So I'm guessing it kind of hides this little opening here as well.